students. I hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to start with chapter 1, that is components of food. So इस chapter में हम लोग different components of food को पढ़ने वाले. So हमारे food में different nutrients present होते हैं. So we are going to learn about the different nutrients present in the food. We will also understand how to test the presence of these nutrients. We will understand the importance of these nutrients in our diet. And lastly, we will learn about a balanced diet. So इस chapter में हम ये सारे topics को cover करेंगे. हम nutrients के बारे में पढ़ेंगे, different nutrients को हम कैसे test करते हैं इस बारे में पढ़ेंगे, इन nutrients का क्या importance है हमारे body के लिए हम उस बारे में पढ़ेंगे, and finally we will be learning about having a well balanced diet. So let's get started. So in your lower class, you must have made a list of different food items that we are eating. And you have also learned about that in different parts of India, different food items are eaten. You all, I think, are must aware, right? Like, let's take some example. जैसे कि बिहार में बहुत ही famous dish है लिट्टी चोखा. Okay, let's take up some example. Litti chokha in Bihar. It's one of the famous food of Bihar. Let's take up one more example. West Bengal. आप सबको पता होगा West Bengal में रसगुल्ला बहुत famous है, right? Rasgulla. And finally, if we take one more example, let's take up an example of Karnataka. Karnataka is famous for Mysore Pak. Okay, so we have already learned that different parts of India में different food items खाए जाते हैं. Let's look at a typical meal. हम जो खाना खाते हैं उसमें क्या क्या चीजें included होती हैं, हमारे meal में क्या क्या चीजें included होती हैं. So first there is a chapati. We have chapati along with dal as well as with some curry. ये एक एग्जाम्पल है एक मील का, which can include chapati, dal and brinjal curry. Similarly, एक और मील हो सकता है where there could be a rice along with sambar and some other vegetable, might be a lady's finger, bhindi, right? उसी तरह एक और मील हो सकता है which could include appam, rice curry, fish curry and some other vegetable. So there are different meal available and these meals are eaten in different part of our country. Now let's get started with the first activity, activity 1. So our meal usually have at least one item made up of some grain. So हमारे meal में at least एक grain होता है and उसके साथ we will have a dal or a dish of meat or any vegetable. Along with that, we also include items like curd. We include buttermilk and pickles in our diet. So now we will be looking in table 1.1 and we will look at the examples of meals from different regions. So let's solve this table 1.1. So this is table 1.1 that is showing some common meals in different regions and states. Let's look at the first example, Punjab. Punjab is a state. यहाँ पे जो grain जो most commonly खाए जाते हैं, that is roti, मक्के की रोटी, corn roti. Next, dal is rajma. Vegetable usually eaten is sarson ka saag, mustard leaf curry, along with curd and ghee. Let's take up another example, Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh usually consume rice along with tur dal and rasam. Rasam is also called as charu. Then vegetable most commonly found over there is kundru, along with buttermilk, ghee and pickle. Now there is one blank, so you can fill up this blank table and you can write about your own state, grain, dal or meal eaten, vegetable, and what is taken along with these meal. Okay, let me fill up this table according to my state. So I stay in Jharkhand. I'll write it down and fill it up for Jharkhand. So Jharkhand mein grain which is eaten is rice. Meat or dal that is eaten is kurthi dal. kurthi dal. And the meat is lento mandi. Okay, it's a chicken dish. Then let's talk about vegetable. It is rugra along with some kudrum chutney. Now, these names would sound very funny to you all, but these are some speciality of my state. Okay. Similarly, you can write your own state, the different food items that are eaten in your state. Now, let's proceed. So sometime we may not really have all these varieties in our meal. ऐसा बहुत situation आता है हमारे life में जहाँ पे हमें ये सारे varieties नहीं मिलते हैं खाने को, especially when we are traveling. Okay, we cannot get everything on our plate. So it may not be possible for some of us to eat variety of items most of the time. And there must be a reason though why meals usually consist such a distribution. हमारे meal में क्यों एक grain included है, क्यों दाल included है, क्यों vegetables included है. There is a reason behind it. So why our meal is consisting of such different varieties of food? Do you think that our body needs different kind of food for some special purpose? So your answer is yes. We are having a food that are made up of different components, and each item of the food contains nutrients. Okay, so that we are going to learn now. What do different food item contains? So we know that each dish is usually made up of one or more ingredient. हम जो भी खाना बनाते हैं उनमें बहुत सारे ingredients use होते हैं. Be it a very simple dish. Let's talk about tea. अगर हम चाय भी बना रहे हैं, it would require milk, it would require tea leaves, it will also require sugar. ओके कुछ और एक्स्ट्रा फ्लेवर ऐड करना है तो हम अदरक भी डालेंगे, यहाँ पे इलायची भी डालेंगे, राइट? सो देयर आर सो मेनी इंग्रेडिएंट्स रिक्वायर्ड फॉर जस्ट अ सिंपल डिश, simple drink like tea. Now, most of these components, we are either getting it from plants or we are getting it from animals. And these ingredients, they contain some components that are needed by a body. So these ingredients that we are adding in a food, ये हमारे body में required होते हैं. So let's proceed. So these components are called as nutrients. ये जो components हमारे food में पाए जाते हैं, जो हमारे body में बहुत ही important है, इस nutrients, sorry, इस components को हम nutrients कहते हैं. And the major nutrients that are found in a food are first, carbohydrate. Second, proteins. Third are the fats. Fourth are vitamins and minerals. I want you all to mark this. So there are 4 different types of nutrients that are found in a food, which are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and vitamins and minerals. Apart from this, our food also contains dietary fibers and water. And this is also required by a body. Apart from these nutrients, essential nutrients like carbohydrates, protein, fats, vitamins, and minerals, हमारे body को dietary fibers और water भी चाहिए. Now there is a very interesting question. Do all the food contain all these nutrients? हमारे खाने में एक dish में सारे nutrients present होते हैं क्या? So with some simple methods, we are going to test whether these cooked food or these raw ingredients are containing one or more of these ingredients. So we are now going to test. अब हम different food items को test करेंगे कि उसमें कौन-कौन से ingredient present है. So we will be basically testing for 3 important nutrients, that is carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And then we will be recording our observation in table 1.2. So you can carry out these tests. And in order to carry out these tests, of course, we will require some chemicals. So we will be needing some solutions of iodine. We will be needing solution of copper sulfate and caustic soda. So these are the 3 solutions that we are going to need. Apart from that, of course, हमें कुछ food items की ज़रूरत है क्योंकि उनके ऊपर हम ये experiments करने वाले हैं, right? So we will be needing some cooked food items as well. अगर ये सारे डिफरेंट केमिकल्स अवेलेबल नहीं है आपके लैबोरेटरी में, तो वी कैन ऑल्सो प्रिपेयर दीज केमिकल्स. ओके, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट प्रिपेयरिंग दीज केमिकल्स. सो सबसे पहले हम आयोडीन कैसे बना सकते हैं, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इट. सो अगर हमें आयोडीन सोल्यूशन बनाना है तो हम फ्यू ड्रॉप्स लेंगे टिंचर आयोडीन का. वी विल फिल इट अप इन अ टेस्ट ट्यूब एंड उसे हम फिल कर देंगे वाटर से. आधे टेस्ट ट्यूब में हम वाटर फिल करेंगे और उसमें कुछ ड्रॉप्स डालेंगे टिंचर आयोडीन का, एंड वी विल बी गेटिंग अ डाइल्यूट सोल्यूशन ऑफ आयोडीन. आयोडीन सोल्यूशन इज नाउ रेडी. सेकेंड, अगर हमें कॉपर सल्फेट सोल्यूशन बनाना है तो हम 2 grams कॉपर सल्फेट लेंगे और इसे डिसॉल्व करेंगे 100 ml of water. And thirdly, if we require caustic soda, so we will take 10 grams of caustic soda and we will dissolve it in 100 ml of water. So अगर ये सारे chemicals ready made available नहीं है तो हम इन्हें prepare भी कर सकते हैं अपने lab में. Now let's get started. So as I have mentioned, हमें अगर फूड टेस्ट करना है तो हमें किसी फूड आइटम्स की रिक्वायरमेंट होगी. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट वी विल आल्सो रिक्वायर टेस्ट ट्यूब्स, वी विल आल्सो रिक्वायर ड्रॉपर्स. सो द फर्स्ट टेस्ट दैट वी आर गोइंग टू डू इज अ टेस्ट फॉर कार्बोहाइड्रेट. ओके, अब हमारे जो फूड होते हैं उसमें बहुत सारे टाइप्स के कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स प्रेजेंट होते हैं. द मोस्ट कॉमन फॉर्म आर द स्टार्च एंड द शुगर. सो अब हम टेस्ट करने वाले हैं हमारे खाने में मतलब खाने में कार्बोहाइड्रेट प्रेजेंट है या नहीं है. So let's start with the first one, that is a test for starch. Okay, this is the most commonly formed carbohydrate. So सबसे पहले हमें एक फूड आइटम की जरूरत पड़ेगी, और वी कैन टेक एनी रॉ इंग्रेडिएंट. इन दिस example you can see they have taken some potatoes, right? So हमने एक फूड आइटम ले लिया, वो फूड आइटम था पोटैटो. Now we will add 2 to 3 drops of dilute iodine solution on it. So you can see there is a girl, she's carrying a dropper and she has poured a dilute iodine solution. Remember that starch test के लिए हमें जरूरत पड़ती है iodine solution की. Okay, we will be using iodine solution for detecting the presence of starch. Food item contains starch, it is going to turn blue-black in color. Now let's see whether the potato has turned into blue-black color or not. So here you can observe कि potato में ये blue-black color आया है. So this indicates there is a presence of starch. So potatoes, they are having starch present in it. So a blue-black color indicates that there is a presence of starch. I want you all to make a note of it. So हम starch किस solution के through detect करते हैं? Remember, it is detected by the presence of blue-black color that is given when iodine solution is added to it. Let's proceed now. So similarly, जैसे हमने यहाँ पे potatoes use किया है, हम और भी different food items use कर सकते हैं. We can use bread for detecting the presence of starch. Okay, we can use some rice powder. Apart from that, we can use other different materials, other food items in order to detect the presence of starch. Now let's proceed. How to detect if the food item contains protein? Again, हमें सबसे पहले एक food item की जरूरत पड़ेगी. We'll take a food item. Now, a food item can be in a solid form. या तो हम उसका paste बना सकते हैं, या तो हम उसे powder के form में बना सकते हैं. We can grind it, we can mash it, and we require a small quantity of this food item. अब हम इस food item को clean test tube में insert करेंगे and 10 drops of water डालेंगे इस test tube में और इसको अच्छे से shake करेंगे. Okay, so what we have taken? We have taken a food item. Okay, we have taken a food item. We have put it into a test tube. Test tube में हमारा food item है. And then we have added water into it. How many drops? 10 drops of water. Okay, and then we have shaked it gently. Now, with the use of dropper, we will add. Now, this is important. There are two solutions that are going to be added. First, we will add 2 drops of copper sulfate. Okay. And secondly, we will add 10 drops of caustic soda solution in this test tube. Okay. So what we are going to add, first of all, 2 drops of copper sulfate and then 10 drops of caustic soda solution. And again, we will shake this entire setup. So you will observe that if this food contains protein, the content of the food will turn violet. Or agar ye violet color aata hai, so it indicates that there is a presence of protein in the food item. Okay, so what do you see? You will observe that the food item, the food material will turn violet in color, and this indicates the presence of protein. Okay, so for the test of protein, what chemicals do we require? We would require copper sulfate solution as well as caustic soda solution. स्टार्च टेस्ट के लिए हमें आयोडीन सोल्यूशन की जरूरत थी, एंड फॉर प्रोटीन वी रिक्वायर कॉपर सल्फेट एंड caustic soda solution. Similarly, you can do this test on many other food items and we can detect the presence of protein. Now let's proceed. Now we are going to detect the presence of fats. So again, we will take a small quantity of food item. Now this is very interesting. हम उस फूड आइटम को रैप करेंगे इन अ पीस ऑफ पेपर और उस फूड आइटम को पेपर के अंदर डाल के उसे क्रश करेंगे. ज्यादा हार्डली क्रश नहीं करना है, अदरवाइज द पेपर विल टेयर. ओके, सो वी हैव टू टेक केयर दैट द पेपर डज नॉट टेयर. नाउ वी विल अनफोल्ड दैट पेपर. हम उस पेपर को सीधा करेंगे एंड वी विल ऑब्जर्व इट थ्रू द लाइट. ओके, उसको लाइट सोर्स के आगे रख के वी विल ऑब्जर्व इट. अगर आपको वहां पे ऑयली पैच दिखता है, ओके, ऑयली पैच मतलब वहां से लाइट फेंटली पास होता है. यूजुअली पेपर तो ओपेक है, वो लाइट पास नहीं करने देता है. और सम पेपर आर इवन ट्रांसल्यूसेंट. ओके, इट वोंट अलाउ द लाइट टू पास थ्रू इट. बट अगर वो फूड आइटम में फैट प्रेजेंट होगा, it will become more translucent. Okay, you can observe the difference in the paper. So this oily patch will show that the food item contains fats. Now ये भी बोल सकते हो different food items में water भी होता है, ये water भी हो सकता है. So अगर ऐसा कुछ confusion है, so we will leave this food item paper to let it dry for few minutes. Now अगर ये paper सूखने के बाद भी वो oily patch show कर रहा है, so it means that this food item contains fat. Okay, so this is how we detect the presence of fat in the food item. So what do these tests show? So these tests shows that a food contains different types of nutrients and different food contains different types of nutrients. Okay, so before we proceed, let us quickly make a note कि हमें फैट के लिए कोई सोल्यूशन की जरूरत नहीं है. वी आर नॉट यूजिंग एनी सोल्यूशन टू डिटेक्ट द प्रेजेंस ऑफ फैट. वी आर यूजिंग जस्ट अ पीस ऑफ पेपर एंड वी वांट टू see that oily patch. Okay, make a note of it. Okay, now let's come back. So are fats, proteins and starch present in all the food items that you tested? So of course not. कोई food item में fats present होते हैं, कोई में proteins present होते हैं, कोई में starch present होते हैं. ऐसा भी होता है कोई food items में combinations present होते हैं, थोड़ा सा protein भी होगा, थोड़ा सा fats भी होगा, right? So does a food item contain more than one nutrient? Yes, it can happen. A food item may contain more than one nutrient, but एक nutrient बहुत ज़्यादा quantity में होता है, एक nutrient थोड़े कम quantity में होता है. Okay, so if we ideally talk, तो food में usually one type के ही nutrient होते हैं. But if we look at the other ingredients as well, तो उसमें थोड़े-थोड़े और nutrients भी present होते हैं. Concentration, amount, quantity कम होता है. Do you find any food item that does not contain any of these nutrients? So the answer would be no. ऐसा कोई फूड आइटम नहीं है जिसमें कोई न्यूट्रिएंट्स ना प्रेजेंट हो, कुछ ना कुछ न्यूट्रिएंट्स प्रेजेंट होता ही है. So we have tested different food items. We have basically tested for 3 important nutrients, that was carbohydrates, and we have used iodine solution for it. Then we have tested proteins, जिसके लिए we have required copper sulfate का solution, and along with that we have used caustic soda ka solution. Okay, and lastly we have tested for fats with the help of a paper. Now apart from these 3 major nutrients, there are also vitamins and minerals present in the food items. Now the important question arises, why do we need all these nutrients? हम जो भी food खाते हैं उसमें इतने सारे nutrients होते हैं, but हमें इन nutrients की जरूरत क्या है? So we will be discussing about why do we need these nutrients, why our body needs these nutrients in our next video. But before that, let us solve this table 1.2. So if you will do these tests, nutrient test on different food items, you will observe that raw potato consists of starch, milk are rich in protein, groundnut will give a positive test for fat, uncooked powdered rice. Now this is rich in starch. Okay, so you will detect the presence of starch in this. No proteins, no fats. Cooked rice, maybe there is a presence of starch. If we talk about dry coconut, it is rich in fats. Okay, it will give a positive result for fats. Uncooked tur dal, it is rich in protein, so it will give a good result, a positive result for protein. Cooked dal also, it will give a positive result for protein. And since हम इस दाल को जब पकाते हैं, we will use some oil as well, so it can give a test also for oil, for fats. Okay, oils are rich in fat. Then slice of vegetable, they neither contain starch, protein nor fats. They are usually rich in vitamins and minerals. And for fruits also will be rich in vitamins and minerals. Finally, boiled egg, it is rich in proteins. So today we have learned quite a lot of interesting things. We have learned about the term called nutrients. We have learned how to detect the presence of these nutrients in our food. So in the next video, we are going to learn about why does a body need these different types of nutrients. Okay, so why do we need all these nutrients? We are going to discuss in the next video. Till then, everyone, do take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.